Today we're taking a look at the Joby Wavo pod mic, as well as the Wavo boom arm, which is a mic arm. I'm going to be comparing it to the Rode PSA-1, which I'm using right now, and the microphone I'm going to be comparing to the Blue Yeti X, which I think is the most similar microphone to this. Now, if you're into cameras at all, you probably know Joby for their GorillaPod, which is what I have always known them for. I've been using this guy for years, basically a tripod that you can adjust and do some cool things with, but they reached out and asked if I wanted to take a look at their microphone, so we're going to take a look at that. Now, for full transparency, they did send this to me for free, but all of these opinions are completely my own. So let's take a look. Now, my first impression of the microphone itself, it's a little bit lighter than I expected. It looks a lot like the Blue Yeti, which is like that solid metal, super heavy microphone. This is a little bit lighter. The bass, of course, is very heavy. This seems to be metal. Yeah, this is metal, but this itself is very light. Now, that by itself is not necessarily a good or bad thing. I know a lot of people just equate heaviness with quality, but that's not always true. There is also headphone monitor, so I'll be able to hear myself through the microphone. One nice thing about the Wavo Pod is it is Type-C, which is always really nice as more things are shifting to Type-C. So you also can switch between the two polar patterns. So you have the cardioid, which is the one on the left here. It kind of looks like little heart. And then you also have the omnidirectional. So on the mic itself, it shows the pattern here. So you speak into that part of the mic. And then on the other side, it shows, for the omnidirectional pattern, you can speak into either parts. So now let's take a look and open up the boom arm. Now this is a huge box. Oh, it's actually got nice cable management. You can put the little red strips over, which is really cool. Hazard, stored energy. So yeah, it'll just kind of pop open by itself the second you take this off, so. Okay, and then here is the mount. And oh my goodness, is that what I think it is? Hold on. This might be a game changer here. Is this a cup holder? Whenever I'm at my desk, I always like to have a little drink, you know? But let's try this out and see how it goes. Now I'm gonna be switching over the Joby Wavo Pod for this. I have not heard it at all yet, so I have nothing to say about it, but hopefully it sounds okay. But I just set up the boom arm and I really, really like it. Now, you have the option of having the cable cover with the red or the black. I'm just going to use the red just because it matches the aesthetic. But you're able to put the cable right through here, which is a really, really nice feature. I also absolutely love the drink holder. I may have to test it out a little bit more, but I think this is going to replace my Rode PSA-1 as my mic arm of choice. We'll see if this is good to support a heavier microphone like the Shure SM7B. So I'm gonna go test this with the SM7B and let's see if it works. So now I have my SM7B on the mic stand, and honestly, I like it. I mean, I don't have it fully set up. I've still got it like all connected to everything else because it's already pretty like locked in there. Don't want to commit to it just yet, but I can really rotate it to get exactly how I want. And I would be able to hide this portion as well underneath. But it seems like it supports the weight well. It's not like flipping up or down. It's very easy to move. I know this is probably messing with the audio going in and out, but it's very easy to move around. It's very easy to turn. One thing I didn't mention is it also comes with these nice little rubber sort of like stoppers in between your desk, so it doesn't like scratch up if you have like a wood desk or something like that. You also have this 3-hole thing if you want to like screw it into your desk, like drill into, and I'm not going to do that. I don't really commit to that sort of thing. And so now next up, we're going to do a sound test of the mic compared to the Yeti X. So let's do it. So this is actually the second time I'm recording this part because the first time I tried to record it, I was clipping on the mic even though I was a foot away and speaking at a pretty normal volume, and I had no idea why. I was about to give some very negative reviews of the mic, but then I found out when you're on the headphone setting, when it's got the blue ring, if you hold in for a second, it will turn purple, and then you can adjust the gain on the mic. So now it should be a lot louder. And now it should be a lot quieter. So I didn't realize this when I first plugged it in, but my only problem is you can't see the gain levels on the mic itself, which is kind of annoying because I don't know if I turn this a million times if it's just going to keep getting quieter. It doesn't look like it is in OBS. I'm on the minimum sound and it sounds like I'm still clipping. So it would be really nice to see where you're at in the gain. I have no way of knowing which way the gain is because I went through the manual again and this is what it shows, which isn't super clear that it's the gain. So I didn't quite know that this was to adjust the gain. Like, it would have been really nice to have just like a text visual, because nowhere does it say adjust the gain by doing that. So I'm actually going to be comparing the Elgato Wave 3 to the Joby Wavo Pod to the Blue Yeti X. So I've got these 3 different USB condenser microphones here. They're all relatively similar prices. I know the Wavo Pod is a little bit cheaper, but let's see if it can stand up to the other 2. Now, there are more features on the other 2 microphones. For example, the Blue Yeti X has 2 more polar patterns, and you can also sort of live see the sound levels on the mic. And the Elgato Wave 3, you can see the different levels that you are changing to, and there's also sort of a mix option on the Wave 3. But let's just get into the sound. I'm going to go through some sentences, and then I'm going to put above which one you're hearing it through. The birch canoe slid on the smooth planks. The birch canoe slid on the smooth planks. The birch canoe slid on the smooth planks. Glue the sheet to the dark blue background. Glue the sheet to the dark blue background. Glue the sheet to the dark blue background. It's easy to tell the depth of a well. It's easy to tell the depth of a well. It's easy to tell the depth of a well. These days, a chicken leg is a rare dish. These days, a chicken leg is a rare dish. These days, a chicken leg is a rare dish. Rice is often served in round bowls. Rice is often served in round bowls. Rice is often served in round bowls. The box was thrown beside the parked truck. The box was thrown beside the parked truck. The box was thrown beside the parked truck. So hopefully you were able to tell the difference between the microphones. I'm going to listen to it a little bit later and give you my thoughts. But right now I'm going to also test the 2 different polar patterns on this mic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the other mode, the omnidirectional mode. And I'm going to turn the microphone around. So now I'm going to speak a few sentences, and then halfway through the sentence, I'm going to switch over to the other pattern, which hopefully should cancel the sound out. The fish twisted and turned on the bent hook. Press the pants and sew a button on the vest. The swan dive was far short of perfect. So now I'm going to switch back to my normal mic and give my final thoughts on the boom arm and the microphone. So I got a chance to listen to this mic versus the other 2 mics, and honestly, it sounds pretty good. Like, it held up pretty well. The biggest problem I encountered, even after figuring out the gain situation, which I do think they should advertise a little bit more, like in the pamphlets, make it a little more clear. The biggest problem I encountered was that it was still clipping, even on the lowest setting, when I wasn't that loud, which was kind of surprising. And I tested it with and without the pop filter just to be sure, and it still was clipping sometimes when I was relatively close to the mic. And I wasn't even that loud, which was a little surprising. So you're definitely not going to be able to be like super loud with this mic without it clipping, even on the lowest setting. Unfortunately, since it's in 24-bit, not 32-bit, it's going to be harder to kind of recover from those clipping sounds. And I definitely prefer how it sounds in the cardioid setting compared to the omnidirectional one with multiple people. I don't think that it would be the best mic for something like a podcast where there's multiple people talking to it. I think it would work in a pinch, and you would definitely want that setting on if you were to record like that, but I don't think it's the best suited mic for that. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is the Joby Link compatibility. So they basically sell these guys that's kind of like one of these arms that you can connect to this. And what happens is you can put like a phone or a light and basically use it as sort of an all-in-one system. And because it's USB Type-C, you can plug it right into your phone and have it work. So you'd be able to record like a really nice TikTok with decent lighting and then also a good microphone instead of having to use the phone's internal microphone. And so I could definitely see that being a really big use case for this. And I think it's slightly better for doing streaming rather than like voiceover recordings. And that's because of that clipping issue. I think that's not a big deal in like live stuff because that's kind of almost expected. Rather than if you were to make like a really nice YouTube video, you want it to be as high quality as possible. And then you realize in the recording, oh no, the audio clipped and now it sounds horrible, that one tiny moment. So for $100, I wouldn't really consider this like a generalist microphone. It's not just going to be like my recommendation for everybody. I think if you have a use case for this, it definitely could be worth it, but I'm not going to be like, yes, this is the $100 microphone, never get the Elgato Wave 3, never get the Yeti X. I'm not going to say that because I do think that those kind of outclass this in that similar price range, but there are definitely a lot of use cases for this. And now onto the boom arm, which some of you may notice is now what I am currently using. I have actually uninstalled the Rode PSA-1 from my desk and will be using this as my boom arm of choice. Probably in future videos. You can check my future videos and see if I'm still using this, but I quite like it. I think that Maybe it's not as buttery smooth as the Rode PSA 1 was out of the box, if I remember correctly. However, in time, the Rode has gotten a little squeaky and is not as good. I will update this if it gets a little bit worse in time. And also having the extra axis of rotation on the microphone is actually super helpful. And of course, I can't not mention the cup holder. Now I can just have my drink ready to go at all times, which is really nice. And you also have the headphone holder right below it, which is really cool. So if you are looking for a new mic arm and you are okay spending a little bit of money, this is definitely my recommendation. In my opinion, it outclasses the Rode PSA 1, which is at the same exact price point. So if you are looking to get one, I would recommend this. If you already have the Rode mic arm, I'm not saying like, yes, go out and buy another one. Like, they're both very good. However, I think this slightly outclasses it. So that's about it for this video. Let me know your thoughts on the mic arm and the microphone. If you have any questions or any ideas for future videos, you can let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you next time.